Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for WWE Aftershock in 3, 2, 1. World Wrestling Entertainment Discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm filming the intro this way because when I was going through to upload everything so that way James could edit it, I just realized so I could make space on my computer for the raw portion of this video, I had deleted the intro by mistake. So I'm just going to film the intro this way because I'm too lazy to get back up and set everything up again. But welcome to WWE Aftershock Week 45. Enjoy the worst WWE Aftershock ever.
Hey guys, it's Steve Steiner here. I wanted to give my quick thoughts on Raw last week. Overall, I'm going to give the show an A-. I thought all the matches were spot on. Very consistent over the past couple weeks, really being must-watch TV. It's nice to see WWE back in that state again where it's worth tuning into Raw every week. And it's kind of funny because, you know, for the past couple years we've been told SmackDown was going to be the show to watch. But, you know, when your champion doesn't show up, kind of hard. And now the fact that Logan Paul is champion as well, which I'm happy for. I wanted Logan to win that match. I can't ignore the fact that now, you know, Io Sky's gonna have to carry that show, and based on what we saw, you know, she was able to carry it this week, but you know, she's gonna have to do that week in, week out now, if Logan and Roman aren't gonna be showing up. So, you know, good luck to her. And it's not shitting on Io Sky or Damage Control for that matter, but it's, you know, no matter how big your star power is, it's a team effort to carry a show like that. No one person can do that. You know, one person can make you tune in, but who's going to make you stay on the channel? But regardless, I thought Raw was really good overall. I think my favorite, you know, ongoing segment the whole night was the Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins storyline they had with them opening the show and Seth thanking Sami for the win, or, you know, helping him after his win at Crown Jewel, keep the title, not be cashed in on. Sami said, you know, while he respects Seth, he didn't do it for him. He did it because the Judgment Day wins that title. They're going to go on to become Bloodline version 2. So, you know, it's really cool seeing Sami still hate the Bloodline, and now that's why he hates Judgment Day so much. And then the main event segment was just awesome. I thought it was an incredible match. It was probably one of the few 4.5, if not 5-star matches we've seen all year. And after the match with Judgment Day running in, Jay and Cody making the save, going to Wargames, it's going to be awesome to see it. But overall, Raw was great. The rest of the show was great as well. The Women's Battle Royal, the Akira Tozawa and Shinsuke Nakamura match was great. Just overall a good show. Highly recommend watching it, but I don't want to draw on it too long, so I'm just going to give a quick summary of Raw like that and call it a day.
Okay, so here's my take on Raw for November 6, 2023. It was commentated by Wade Barrett and Michael Cole. I'm just going to go through this because, as you're going to see in a bit, I just finished recorded the later bit of the show. So I'm doing this one after the other, but I'm just going to get right into this. So they announced a battle royal that was going to take place where the winner was going to challenge Rhea Ripley at Survivor Series Wargames for the Women's World Championship. And they built up through it throughout the night. They had Becky Lynch get interviewed, and she mentioned that she was going to win the battle royal and get her career back on track. And then Nia Jax came up and made fun of her for breaking her face back in 2018. And Becky had a good clapback where she mentioned that, you know, I main evented WrestleMania while you got fired. They did a good one with Piper Niven and Chelsea Green where they were gloating about how one of them was going to win the Battle Royal. And then Shayna and Zoe Stark came over to talk shit to them. And then they kind of did a thing where it was going to be every woman for themselves. What else? when we found out later on that Ivy Naya was going to be in the Battle Royal because she had signed a contract in Raw. So that was good stuff. They did a backstage bit with Maxine Dupree with Alpha Academy. And yeah, I really liked the Battle Royal. I thought they did a lot of really good stuff. They did a funny bit with Nikki Cross where, you know, she was just standing there in a fugue state, and she was in between Raquel and Nia Jax, and they eliminated her. And then she just kind of stayed there on the Battle Royal in that fugue state, and then Ivy Nile got a lot of really good eliminations. She looked really strong in this Battle Royal. She was like in the final 5. And Nia was pretty much the bad bit of the Battle Royal because she just wasn't very good. And then she ended up, after she was eliminating Ivy Nile, so hopefully that turns into a feud. The final 3 were Raquel, who did a funny eliminating Chelsea Green, which was cool. And then Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler worked together to eliminate Raquel, and then Zoe Stark eventually eliminated Shayna Baszler, and she's going to face Rhea Ripley for the title. They had a backstage confrontation where they kind of talked about how they could beat each other, so that was cool. I liked everything they did to set up this Battle Royal. They even did a bit where Becky Lynch attacked Zoe Stark. Not Becky Lynch, I'm sorry. Xia Li attacked Becky Lynch and took her out of the Battle Royal, but because she did this, she ended up getting kicked out of the Battle Royal. So, yeah, I liked that because it showed that there was consequences. So I liked everything they did with the Battle Royal. They did a nice video package for Natalya, which was cool, so I liked that. Tegan Knox came back, so that's going to be a match. It's going to be Tegan Knox versus Piper Niven next week because Tegan Knox eliminated Piper Niven from the Battle Royal. So I liked the Battle Royal here. Then other things that happened, they did a good tribute to the Troops video package. I liked that. They had a backstage segment where it showed the Creed brothers signing, and DIY came in, and they, you know, had a back and forth. This was kind of a dream match because obviously the Creed brothers were the Heart and Soul tag team of the NXT 2.0 era, while DIY were the Heart and Soul tag team of the Black and Gold era. So they challenged each other to a match. They had a match. It was a very good match. I was kind of wondering how they were going to book themselves out of this, obviously, because DIY just reformed and the Creed brothers just got caught up, so really no team could lose here. But I thought WWE booked themselves out of it perfectly by having Marcel Bartel interfere, and he attacked Johnny Gargano, which caused the Creed brothers to win. So everybody came out of this looking good. You know, the Creed brothers won, and they have something going on, and DIY lost, but it was only because Marcel Bartel screwed him over, and they have a feud that they can kind of go to that. And they had a killer match anyway, so that was great. They had the 4-way match for the number 1 contendership for the IC title. Adam Pearce did a great job hyping up each competitor. It was Ivar with Valhalla versus The Miz versus Ivar versus The Miz versus Ricochet versus Bronson Reed. Really great match. The finish was really great, where Ivar did a moonsault simultaneously as Bronson Reed went for the tsunami, but The Miz moved, and he pinned Ricochet at the same time. The Miz was pinning Bronson Reed, and the finish was botched because it was supposed to be a double pin, but what happened earlier in the match is Ricochet got a concussion, so he ended up kicking out by mistake, and The Miz won the match anyways. So Ivar improvised and just attacked The Miz, and this led to a match being set up for next week. But yeah, sucks Ricochet got injured. Apparently, we don't know how long he's going to be out. He could be out a week, or he could be out, a few days. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. And then, what else happened on Raw? That was good stuff. Shinsuke Nakamura faced Akira Tozawa. They booked this match very smartly. They had Akira Tozawa get a lot of offense in, and Nakamura just beat him in the end. But it wasn't one of those things where he got all this offense and then Nakamura hit one move and won. It was actually a pretty competitive match, and they booked this smartly because they knew Tozawa was gonna face Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup, and then Nakamura ended up winning. And then, that was pretty much that. But I liked this a lot. They did it. They booked this match very smartly. And then, pretty much everything else was just built to the, Finn Balor and Damian Priest also faced the New Day. They beat them. It was really good stuff. They built throughout the night this Wargames match that was going to be set up. They had Seth come out. He gave props to Drew for the match and not joining Judgment Day, and then he brought out Sami Zayn. They had a nice little segment where it was revealed that off-screen Sami Zayn had to give back Damian Priest's briefcase, which I liked that bit, and hand it over to Adam Pearce, and in return he got a title shot, and he had it on this show. He didn't originally want it on this show because he wanted to be a champion who was 100%, but Seth kind of goaded him into it, and then Damian Priest and the Judgment Day were pissed that Sami Zayn was being rewarded for this. So throughout the night, they built up, that Sami Zayn could potentially win the title. Because Jay came in, they showed footage of what happened in Elimination Chamber earlier this year, where Sami lost because of Jay. So, and it was revealed that Cody and Jay are going to get their rematch for the tag titles against the Usos. And then later in the night, we had the world title match where Seth won after just an incredible match, and afterwards Judgment Day attacked everybody after they shook hands, and Jay made the save followed by Cody, and Adam Pearce came out and made the match a Wargames match. So it's going to be Judgment Day versus Cody, Jay, Cody, Jay, Sammy, and Seth. Which, a lot of storyline there, because obviously that's how Sammy and Jay got together in Wargames, and then obviously Cody and Seth don't like each other, IRL, and then obviously there's the stuff going on with Judgment Day. So that's pretty much everything that happened on Raw. Overall, I really enjoyed Raw. I'll give it an A-, just an incredible show. And now we go back to either Steve's review of Raw or the actual, part of the rundown, WWE Aftershock. Alright, so now you know what we think of Raw. So, that would be an interesting episode. Steve and I just recorded an hour of footage that we can't even use. That's great. How do you feel about that, Steve?
This is the life we signed up for.
But yeah, you want to take us through NXT now that, we talked about that?
Yes, it is time for us to go through next. Alright, let me pull it up real quick. I had my notes saying now.
Yeah, then...
Buffer. For some reason.
It took place on November 7th. Oh, wait, we have to cover main event again, by the way, too. So remember to do that.
Yeah.
Cover main event when you're reviewing Raw also.
I'll tell you all about main event right now. It's WWE main event. Does anything of note ever happen? Veer and Sangha beat Metaphor, the men.
Yes.
Noam Dar and Oro. Match sucked because Oro can't hold his own. Veer and Sangha are just meh.
There you go.
At least Noam Dar's there. And Ludwig Kaiser beat Apollo Crews.
Really good match.
And Ludwig Kaiser is always a solid wrestler. And now we don't have to do main event because there it is.
I'll just say it was a C.
D plus.
Why C? Wait, why C plus?
No, D plus.
Oh, D plus.
I can't give main events a C. I can't in my heart do it.
Alright, now take us through NXT. This was November 7th, 2023, and it was commentated by Booker T and Vic Joseph. And you know how we feel about
Yes, it was booked by Shawn Michaels and his lazy eye.
Yes, it was. Maybe that's why NXT wasn't good until recently, so...
Alright, let me get my notes up real quick. My apologies, my phone was being a little uncooperative, so I'm actually from my computer, so
Alright.
I just realized, oh yeah, why don't I just pull up my notes on this, because it doesn't work.
Damn.
You know what else I should do is probably invest in a webcam so I can do this from my computer.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, just get like a just get like a USB version of one. So.
All right, here we go. But maybe not.
By the way, but while you're waiting, do I have to send you a text to remind you to record the WAR version, or will you remember?
Gotcha. All right, here we are. November 7th, NXT results. NXT opens up the NXT Heritage Cup champion Noam Dar, defending that cup against Akira Tozawa of Alpha Academy. Alpha Academy was there for the match. It was, I believe, Alpha Academy's NXT debut, technically speaking, as a faction.
Yeah.
It was really good seeing them all there. That was a very good back and forth match, but it was a 5-round battle overall. Tozawa pushed Dar to his limits, but ultimately Metaphor were able to interfere in the match and help Dar retain the cup via Nova Roller. Can't say I'm surprised. Metaphor is just such a boring group, and he is wasting his time with this faction. They need to do something more with Noam Dar. But the problem is, if you said, okay, Steiner, what's that going to be? I don't.
Yeah, at least you can admit you don't know. So,
yeah.
But yeah, overall, this match was what it was. I think you've seen our past episodes. I don't love the Heritage Cup matches. Pretty much anytime this match got going, the round ended. But yeah, Noam Dar won, and then afterwards, Alpha Academy laid out Or Mensa. So, yes, that was cool, I guess. So, there you go.
It was pretty entertaining. But yes, following this, we had Tiffany Stratton versus Fallon Henley in an Iron Survivor Challenge qualifying match. The first qualifying match for the women's side of it. It was a very decent back and forth fight, but ultimately the injured knee played a factor into Tiffany Stratton's strategy. She was able to target that knee and line her up for the PME, the prettiest moonsault ever, and was able to win the match via that moonsault. So Tiffany Stratton will be moving on. I'm somewhere in the middle of Tiffany Stratton. I think her fans, the way they praise her, I'm like, well, like, she's not that good. But then the haters she has that say, she's terrible, like, well, she's not that bad.
Yeah.
I think she's right above average. She's an above average wrestler, and she's only getting better.
I definitely think she got better with that Becky Lynch feud and everything like that.
Yes.
Yeah, this was solid enough stuff. Apparently, Fallon Henley suffered a concussion during this match, so she's on the concussion protocol now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is still relatively solid. Tiffany Stratton won. I was okay with that, I guess. I'm looking forward to the Iron Survivor Challenge. The only thing you missed is Mick Foley did a promo, and basically we find out the way they're determining the number one contenders for the Iron Survivor Challenge is a legend is going to pick them. This week was Mick Foley. He picked this match, and he also picked Tyler Bate versus Dijak. He got a pretty good Mick Foley style promo, so that was good. And then there was a backstage segment with the competitors from the Breakout Tournament, where they were just kind of talking about the tournament, how great it was. And what's her name? Miss NXT. I can't even remember what her name is.
God, know who you're talking about. I'm trying to think. Do I have her up here? Don't. Ariana Grace.
Yep, Ariana Grace. Anytime she tried to say something, no one would listen to her. And eventually, Kalani, because Lola Vice came in bragging that she won the contract, and Kalani Jordan came in and basically said that, you might as well hand it to Elektra Lopez since she helped you win. And then Roxanne Perez came up and stuck up for her, and then led to a tag match later in the show. And at the end of the night, Carmen Petrovic basically just told Ariana Grace to shut up because she just wouldn't shut up. So So those segments, I didn't like the breakout tournament backstage segment, but everything else was, the Mick Foley promo was good. I guess always good to see Mick Foley kicking around. So.
Oh, it's good to see Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So following this, we had Braun Breaker versus Von Wagner. They went back and forth with a pretty decent bout overall. A lot of good back and forth action, but ultimately Breaker was able to defeat Wagner, in part most likely due to that previous injury he has on Wagner, so he's not at, quote, 100%.
Right.
But this is definitely not the end of the feud here.
Yeah, I like the match. I don't really understand why they keep beating Von Wagner. This is like the third time in a row he's lost. I hope this isn't the end, because at the end, Vaughn put Braun through the table. And they try to say it wasn't about the victory, it was about getting revenge. But it's like, I feel like it should be about getting the victory because, But other than that, all of this was relatively well. I thought they played up to his injury pretty well. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I said before, I think Von Wagner is a kind of like Pest a little bit.
Yeah.
Has a very similar look and a very similar moveset to him, but no, I like that Von Wagner is... You can see he's trying at all times in NXT. He's at the very least, he's always trying to push himself in NXT. He's not someone who's kind of stuck in a rut gimmick. He's in a position where he can try new things and see what works with the audience.
I think...
And the NXT crowd seems into that idea. It's like, okay, like if you really want to try, then we'll work with you.
I feel like definitely had this babyface run and this story they brought onto him now has really helped him on a lot too. So.
Agreed.
So that was good.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then I just break down.
So after this, he put him through the table, like I had said, and then we had match between Roxanne Perez and Kalani Jordan taking on Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. Make sure I have it. Yeah, so the way my results is listed, I have like the matches and then the segments.
Okay, we can talk.
Are, like separated.
We can talk about it this way then. Yeah. So if you want.
So I'll go through the matches, then I'll go through the segments. Yeah. Try something like we're gonna be like Von Wagner tonight. We're trying it. We're trying something new. Hey, this whole show's something new because
actually,
considering who I said he's like, you know what you can say is that test. This is a test.
Yep.
Test. And that's the only lyrics I know, because if you play Test's theme song, it's very hard to decipher what they're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
There are several YouTube videos that try, and they're all hilarious. So we had Roxanne Perez and Kalani Jordan taking on Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. Roxanne and Kalani would ultimately get the win after a split-leg moonsault from Jordan to Lopez was delivered. I thought this was a good match overall. I don't think anyone in this match is, I'm trying to think of the word. I'm kind of lost for it. It was good. Everyone here is just good performers. I think Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez are definitely on the up and up in NXT right now. And I get why, they would put, for the LWO on SmackDown, they chose Zelina Vega as the female front, but they could have brought Elektra with them, I feel like. There's no ready, and then there's ready enough that you can learn on the fly, which I think Elektra Lopez was.
Yeah. I don't know, though. If you've seen some of her matches lately, I don't know if she was ready. She wasn't ready in a wrestling capacity. They could have done a thing maybe where, because didn't they bring somebody up one time as a manager, but they were like a wrestler on it? Wasn't Big E? It was Big E. It was Big E. He was a wrestler. In NXT. No, he was a manager. I'm sorry, on the main roster, but he was the champion, wasn't he? When he was called.
He was champ.
Yeah. So.
He's the bodyguard for AJ.
But yeah, so I like this match. I think Lola Vice has got some real potential. I think we're really starting to see that now. And something tells me they're gonna cash in the the contract this time on the tag titles, the women's tag titles, and I think this is like your first tag team that wins the tag titles, like an NXT tag team that wins them. I think because we still haven't had that happen yet. I still want to see someone that's in an NXT win a tag title. So, and yeah, I like, obviously, I think, Roxanne Perez is doing well. She's probably ready to be up on the main roster at this point. I don't know why, but I don't know why they're kind of waiting on that. And then Kalani Jordan, there is potential, but I still don't think she's had that one match yet where she's really broken out. I think she needs to still have that match where she breaks out. So,
agreed. But I think they all have that potential, and no one's written off yet.
Definitely.
All right. Following this, we had a match between Otis and Drew Gulak, and this was an entertaining match. I mean, Drew Gulak's always a good worker, always someone entertaining to watch, but ultimately Otis picks up the win here after he just powerhouses him, hits the worm, hits the powerbomb, gets the pin. Solid match overall.
Yeah, I thought this was solid. Gulak held his own. I couldn't believe it. He actually took down Otis with a flying clothesline, which was unbelievable.
Yes,
so,
he did.
We won't break a rule here. This was set up from a backstage segment earlier. They got Alpha Academy were celebrating, and we found out that they were going to be on Supernova Session, so they were going to be back next week. And then Drew Gulak was kind of putting down Chad Gable for wasting his time hanging out with guys like Tozawa and stuff like that. So it kind of led to the match between Otis and Gulak, and it led to Otis winning with stuff. But I kind of like that they had because obviously Otis, Gulak, and what he's doing with his students is kind of the same thing with Alpha Academy, except obviously Gulak is a heel, so I thought they kind of worked. I would like to see this be the feud instead, but it looks like they're going to be feuding with Metaphor, which that won't be bad, I guess. I just think Gulak's would have been a much better and stuff.
Yeah. If Metaphor's an option, the other option's always a better one.
Yeah, there you go. So.
Yeah, you know how I feel, man. You know how I feel about them. Not strong.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I do feel strong. It's just not in a good way. Yeah, so following this, we would have our last match of the night. So technically our main event, but not really. Because obviously we have a main event segment. And that would be... And that was Dijak versus Tyler Bate in an Iron Survivor Challenge qualifying match. That was a very good match, very good back and forth. Dijak and Tyler Bate are two solid A-class performers. You could call them up to the main roster at any point. I think they're both ready.
Mm-hmm.
One beyond ready.
One has been actually on the main roster. So.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. All you need to know about Dijak is he deserves some retribution for what happened.
Did you ever hear, by the way, that he was trying to get his name changed on Instagram because it wasn't Dijak, but he couldn't get it changed because there's some algorithm thing on Instagram where if you have to have that name for a while or something. It was something. Yeah.
I've heard about that. Yeah. That's gotta suck.
But yeah, I like this match a lot, though. It kind of reminded you of the old black and gold NXT days and everything like that. They both looked really strong. I was hoping Tyler Bate would be in the Iron Survivor Challenge because, I think he would do really well in that format, especially being the Iron Man, because obviously he could start the match. But they went with Dijak, which I wasn't hating. And it obviously makes sense because it's not in Mass, but it's in New England, so it's in Dijak's, it's enough of it in his hometown, so I think it makes sense that, that he goes.
I agree, but Dijak did pick up the win here with the Feast Your Eyes.
Yep.
That was our main event. Now onto the segments. We had the I'll just kind of run down them, and if it's of note, we'll talk about it. So,
sure.
We had Tiffy Stratton. Oh my god, I called it Tiffy. Oh my god. Starting. Tiffany Stratton had a backstage interview prior to her match. Noam Dar had an interview following his win. Typical Metaphor. Whatever. As you mentioned earlier, Legends will be picking the Iron Survivor qualifying matches from week to week, and next week will be none other than Lita.
Yeah, and the other two are going to be Jerry the King Lawler and I forget who the other one is.
Yeah, well, I can look it up, but yeah, next week will be Lita. Yeah, let me see. Iron Survivor Challenge Legends. It's not popping up right away. Yeah, it's not important right now. We know next week. We had a Chase U segment with Andre Chase and JC Jane, and the class is starting to get a little more unruly with JC being around. And it's obvious that Andre Chase doesn't like it. I think we'll eventually see... Yeah, I think we'll eventually see this blow up at some point. Obviously, they're now the NXT Tag Team Champions, but he cost JC and Thea their match for the women's tag titles.
Yeah.
So we might see JC get Thea's head and pull something where that happens. You know, we get the we get the big blow up. Chase U and JCU, obviously.
Well, you're missing a big thing, actually. What ended up happening in this segment was, what ended up happening is these people that are clearly tied to the family, Tony D and stuff like that, came up with an envelope.
Yes, that's right. I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah, some people came in and they gave him a letter, and they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And he's like, "Don't worry about it." And he's reading it. He looks worried. Some message from people. I've seen the fan theory that I think is probably correct, which is Chase U's going under, so he's gone to D'Angelo's a loan shark. Maybe
that could be it. I was thinking
that's probably it. That's probably actually it. That's not a bad answer.
I was thinking that Chase U's not a real school. He's just using the money to kind of. There's a term for it, but he's just he's embezzling the money.
He's laundering.
Yeah,
money laundering.
Yeah.
Next we had Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams.
Ooh, this is like. Well, let's say let's save this for last, because we do have a few segments on here that I think we should talk about.
Save it for last. That was what everyone wanted to see. We had Ilya Dragunov saying, Corbin has his attention and that match is definitely going to be going down at some point, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I know Dragunov really just won the title, but I'm okay with Corbin beating him.
Yeah, I think Dragunov's ready for a call-up anyways, so...
we had another Joe Gacy segment. Interesting direction to take his character, but I think he should have been called up. Missed opportunity to not call him up.
He could have been a good, I don't want to say replacement, but he could have filled the Bray Wyatt role, because since
he would have been a good. Yeah, I feel like he would have been good really anywhere, and he could have started a new faction.
Yeah, a good one this time too.
Yeah. We had the Brawling Brutes stating that they're coming for OTM next week.
I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be awesome seeing those two back, except for one thing, and that is that his name's not Butch.
Yeah. I also hope...
It's Pete Dunne.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping when he entered that Global Invitational tournament that he would finally go back to Pete Dunne, because that was kind of like him going back to his roots, but that didn't happen.
We had Ariana Grace cutting a segment as Miss NXT, and Carmen Petrovic just drops her.
Yep.
It's pretty fun. We had, Carmelo Hayes being adamant that he did not attack Trick Williams. He didn't state he didn't do it. And we ultimately had a Lyra Valkyria segment, which was talking about, how happy she is to have met and beat Becky Lynch for the title, and now she's happy to be champion. She gets interrupted by Xia Li, who, as you'll see from our Raw video, was kicked out of the Women's Battle Royal for a Raw title match. So, this could be, maybe Pierce didn't just boot her out. Maybe he fired her from Raw. We don't really know, but she showed up on NXT, and she's challenged Valkyria for a title match because she wants to beat her as a shot at Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this.
And I don't think you normally would think, okay, new champion, they're not going to lose the belt in their first match. I don't know. This is interesting.
Right? Yeah, because
do I see Xia Li winning this match? I do. I could see it happening.
Yeah, it would validate a push. I feel like too, it would be kind of cool because you could do a triple threat match, have Becky kind of get back into the mix. But it would be interesting, to say the least.
I agree. Interesting. It will be interesting, but the big thing coming out of this is Lara Valkyria, I think, has a good title reign or a title picture ahead of her, and she will be able to get a good call-up out of this.
Yeah, there's already made feud for on the main roster already, which is something that doesn't really happen. So,
but now we'll get down to business.
Well, there's a couple other things I want to make sure we mention because they're actually
okay. Yeah, if you want to hit those.
So Wesley did an interview where he talks about how happy he is to be at NXT, and this is where Baron Corbin came up to him, and it looks like they're setting up a match between those two at some point. And then let's see what else. Obviously, a couple video packages to kind of hype up the competitors for the Iron Survivor Series qualifiers. There was a segment with Kiana James and Tiffany Stratton backstage, and in that segment you saw Boa talking to Dante Chen. It was in the background, so you couldn't see it, but it looks like that Boa has converted Dante Chen into whatever he's got going on, because now Dante Chen's face was all painted this week. And there was a segment where a referee was coming out of Shawn Michaels' office, and he was told to basically use referee's discretion in the match between Von Wagner and Braun Breaker. And a big interesting thing that came out of this was you saw Ava walking into Shawn Michaels' office, so it looked like they're trying to set something up for Ava again, kind of restart her career and everything like that. Yeah. I think that's it for NXT, other than obviously the big thing we want to talk about.
Yes, and that is the main segment, which was Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams hashing it out. What happened? Did Carmelo jump Trick? It was never directly answered.
Mm-hmm.
They started talking. Trick asked him straight up, "Did you jump me?" Carmelo kept denying it, and then we get interrupted by the loose cannon, as I like to call him.
Actually, wait, that's not.
He
didn't. Originally, he didn't ask him. Actually, he was he was accusing Carmelo Hayes for not being there for him when he was attacked. But Carmelo Hayes, he was the one wait, so you didn't see who jumped you? So Carmelo Hayes was kind of
And something's not adding up here. Anyhow, I'll get to that though. But Lexus King comes out, and he's poking the bear. He's saying, he jumped. He jumped you. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. And, he's just poking the bear, playing the what if games with them, and eventually Trick gets fed up with it. He goes to drop him with a right, and he ducks and ends up knocking Carmelo Hayes out. And Trick didn't really look sorry for it. He was just kind of oh well.
Mm-hmm. And there's this great shot where, because I'm gonna have it be in the thumbnail of the video, where he picks him up and he hugs him, and Carmelo Hayes doesn't look happy about this, behind his back, he doesn't know about this. So this is the biggest thing I want to talk about, because this is the thing that everyone was looking forward to. I'm glad it ended the show, because obviously they've been together since the 2.0 version of NXT started and everything like that.
Right.
Obviously, the logical step is to be Carmelo Hayes, because I think that's going to be Carmelo Hayes' last feud in NXT. And if it was up to me, I would try to keep this going up until Mania time. But obviously, I think they want to have Carmelo Hayes up on the main roster sooner rather than later. It's just the problem is, I think if he goes up the main roster, I don't think he has anything if he goes up there right now with everything, because there's too much stuff going on the main roster. I think he needs to kind of wait till after Mania.
Yeah.
But I know the obvious one, but I would love to see it where it looks like it was him, but it was really Lexus King, because I feel like it would be a really good swerve And if you still want to, you could still do a feud between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, because they can change the feud where, Carmelo Hayes is upset that like Trick thought he attacked him or something like that. So
I think Trick Williams was attacked by Alexis King because last week on Halloween Havoc he had said, my career's just getting started, or maybe it's already gotten started, and he blows it off real quick. Hey, ignore the fact that I just said that. So I was like, oh, okay, you jumped Trick, and then I was like, no, maybe it was Mello. Now I'm like back and forth on it. It's too straightforward for it to just be Carmelo Hayes. I think it could have been both of them.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
The big twist is that there's actually two.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing, too, is you could still have it be Lexus Kid, and the way you call up Carmelo Hayes is Lexus Kid, does something back, injures Carmelo Hayes where he has to write him off of NXT, and then he just goes to the main roster.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough, though, too, because they're not really... If it was the old NXT where, they didn't talk about it, but, it's kind of tough because now they reference NXT, so it'd be weird if he gets written off of NXT and then is on the main roster, the next week, so that'd be tough, too. So it's but whatever. I like this episode of NXT for the most part. I would probably give it a solid B. The main event angle is what really made this show. It was truly...
Yeah, I agree, and
it feels like they've been taking notes from the Bloodline, up until recently.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that segment showed too. If they really want to, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes could just go to the main roster right now. That's how great that segment was.
Yeah. Overall, though, I think we have another solid A- show this week.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this.
Well, first we gotta get to Level Up. But yeah, Level Up took place on November 10th, 2023. The commentators for that were Vic Joseph and Blake Howard. I don't know what Byron was. Maybe they gave him the day off because he had been doing a lot, but he wasn't on Level Up this week. We had Gigi Dolan versus Stevie Turner. That was good. Gigi Dolan won with the Gigi Driver, which is the crucifix bomb that she hits, and that was it. I don't know what's going on with Stevie Turner. One week she gets pursed, the next week she doesn't. They actually explained why she hasn't been around so much, because her gimmick is that she's a hacker, and they basically use shitty Wi-Fi connections, which is why she couldn't hack NXT, so I guess NXT doesn't have very good Wi-Fi. So,
no. But after that, we had the tag match of Gallus, Wolfgang, and Mark Coffey versus Eric Igwe and Tyson DuPont.
It was a tag.
I said that.
It was just a tag match,
As you all know, if you don't know the name or how to pronounce it, probably know they're gonna lose.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
They're a jobber, and that's exactly what happened. Gallus beat the snot out of them.
Wasn't a bad match though. I think these two. I think that.
No, I think Gallus is a great tag team in NXT. Probably ready for a call up.
Yeah, they probably should have been called up. I mean, we're saying all these people should have been called up. I guess you can't call up everybody at once because that hurts NXT, I guess, a lot.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with NXT being a bunch of nobodies because at the end of the day, it's still developmental.
Well, since we're on the topic, they're kind of in a tough spot now. This is a big story, so I'll just kind of mention it. So, I think a couple weeks ago now at this point, it was reported that the NWA was supposed to have a TV deal. They were supposed to go to the CW network. I don't think it was official yet, but they were in talks, and it looked like it was going that way. And Steve, I'll let you say. Why don't you say why it didn't happen? Why NWA doesn't look like they're getting that TV deal anymore?
Cocaine. You think I'm just saying that to get a reaction out of the crowd that's watching this right now? No, I'm not. So they wanted to do a segment. I'm not exactly privy to the exact details, but I believe what it was is
no, they didn't want to. They did. They did do the segment.
Yeah. They're in the crowd, and different people in the crowd, and someone, I think it was Billy Corgan and James Mitchell, and James Mitchell gets something passed to him, and you see him sniff, and it's they wouldn't do that. No, that's exactly what it was. They were doing a thing they were passing around cocaine in the crowd, snorting it. I'm like, what?
Yep.
And then I realized what is not the appropriate question. The real appropriate question is why?
Yeah.
And we still don't know, but it's blatantly obvious what it was, and it came out from the NWA. Oh yeah, that's what we were doing, no big deal. CW was like, yeah, okay. Click, we're out of here. They pulled their TV deal from the NWA, but facts remain that that CW wanted wrestling on their channel.
Well,
in comes NXT.
No, before that, they went to Tony Khan and they wanted to get ROH a TV deal. But Tony Khan...
I didn't know that.
Tony Khan wasn't interested. He wants,
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So, let me make sure I understand this. ROH, the brand he owns that he has done nothing with except milk it for AEW, was offered a TV deal so he could finally make something out of it. And while we're on the subject of drug paraphernalia, that coked up idiot said no.
I think he said no because he wanted to focus on AEW's TV deals, because their TV deals are coming up, and he wants to make Honor Club like a big thing.
I'm not the first person that said this, and I won't be the last. Tony Khan should not have bought Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the show's...
I think WWE at least would have given it a humane ending by putting it down and then taking their video library, but at least that would have been more humane than buying them and just wasting it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had great pay-per-views, don't get me wrong, but that's it. It's like 2 good shows.
The TV shows are basically just dope, just 2 hours, pretty much. Again.
Yeah. AEW's sub-shows suck.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So then NXT came, and basically they were offered, let me look up the amount of money just so that way I know. They were offered, I'm trying to see if I can find this. I had this originally. I don't know if they just took it. Let's just say they were offered a lot of money. I think it was like...
Lot of money.
I think it was like 8K, I think, but that doesn't sound right. Which just shows you how badly both companies screwed up. It's also really funny now because I think you've heard this too. Recently, all the AEW fans and the NWA fans have been going after WWE, mad at them that they stole NXT, that they basically stole their TV deal. Pretty much. They're not happy about that.
The AEW cult through and through, as per usual.
Weirdly enough, the NWA cult, I guess, too, because they're not happy. But yeah, I think this is good for NXT, though. I think, going to the CW network will be good for them. I'm really excited to see, what NXT does there. This is why I don't think they're going to try to call up a lot of their stars, because they don't want to lose that star power that got them the TV deal in the first place. So you might still see some of these guys there for a while. But yeah, good at NXT. It makes sense, too, NXT's done really well recently with their shows and everything like that. So, and I'm really excited about to see NXT go to the CW network. So, it's kind of cool, too, because when I first started watching SmackDown, it was on the CW network, so it'd be kind of full circle and everything like that,
Yeah.
And, we know SmackDown's going to USA, and we'll just talk about this now. We don't know what the state of Raw is. We don't know where Raw is going to go because... it's rumored that it might go to the NBC, it might go here, but basically Raw won't be picked up again by USA Network. It might even change nights the same, which will be weird.
That would be crazy.
But, yeah, just never say never in wrestling, but yeah, WWE is getting a lot of great TV deals, and look, I'm not mad that WWE got the CW deal, I don't think they stole a deal from anybody, NWA screwed up, Tony Khan didn't want it, WWE said, they saw that they could get a lot of money, and they can do this, it would get, it would be different because they'll go into different homes, because obviously a lot of people watch the CW network. I don't even know what's on there anymore, actually. I haven't watched that station in a while.
Me neither.
Yeah, this is an exciting time for the WWE, so... yeah, I'm really excited to see, what WWE does with this TV deal. So, Yeah, let's go through the bump now. The bump took place on November 8th, 2023. It was hosted by Megan Morant, Matt Camp, and Ryan Popola. There was an intro. Basically, the intro was this week was everybody around the bump were talking, and Ryan Popola was talking about, the IC title match in the 4-way, and he was actually saying, I'm looking forward to seeing The Miz take the Intercontinental Championship from Walter. I really want to see him win it. And of course, soon later after he says that, Imperium walks up, well, minus Fabian Eichner, I don't know where he was this week, but Imperium walked up behind him, and when he turns around, he was just like, he tries to get back on the good graces of Imperium and show them, a bunch of tweets. Well, what do you call them now? You can't call them tweets. I guess X posts. I don't even know what to call them.
X marks.
And he tries to get back on the good graces of Imperium, but pretty much it doesn't happen. The camera, he pretty much just says, "Yeah, stop the show." He realizes that he screwed up pretty much. So when they cut away, it's pretty much implied that Imperium probably beat the crap out of him or something like that. So, and then Montez Ford did an interview. He wasn't there in person. He was on Skype, and they just did they had a big screen. And since Veterans Day was coming up, he talked about because he's been in the Army and stuff before, or he's fought. He's part of the veterans and everything like that. And
he's a vet.
And he was just kind of talking about all the stuff that he did. He mentioned the good that the WWE does. He mentioned what you can do for the vets and everything like that. And then they kind of tied it back around. He talked about what he's got going on with Bobby Lashley and everything like that. He mentioned that he finally just stopped becoming soft and everything like that, and finally got aggressive. He mentioned that the only reason he was allowed to do this interview is because Bobby Lashley said it was fine because he was promoting military services, but says that after this, he's got to go back and, he's got to get trained and everything like that. And then he talked about his new Hulu show that he's got coming up with Bianca Belair. Yeah. So that was a good interview right there. And then they get to the Imperium one. They come in. Walter talks about being the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. He talks about, what he likes about wrestling, what got him into the business and everything like that. He mentions that he wasn't offended earlier when Ryan Popola, had picked the Miz because these people are so inconsequential to him that they just don't mean anything to him, so whatever they say doesn't offend him. So, and then he had to play this game where he had to rate the past Intercontinental Champions. And basically any champion that had a character, like the Ultimate Warrior, the Honky Tonk Man, he didn't like them, but he liked the characters like the Mr. Perfects and But when he got to Bret Hart, I think this was Lachute, he mentioned he used to like Bret Hart, but he didn't say very nice things about my match with Sheamus at Clash at the Castle, so he doesn't like Bret Hart no more. So he says that Bret Hart's cranky and that if he fought Bret in his prime, he would have destroyed him. So,
That's alright, but I mean, Bret, according to Bret, his head hurts so bad from Goldberg, he probably doesn't even remember that match anyway.
And then he talked to Marcel Bartel a little bit, because obviously they're going to Germany, and he's legit German and stuff like that. And they tried to get some infighting with Imperium, because they mentioned if the time came, would you challenge Walter if he's still the champion for the Intercontinental Championship? But they didn't answer that question. So, and then the interview ended. It was very intense because afterwards, Walter said that, he's never coming back to this interview again. It was a waste of his time. So he's, they usually, when the bump ends, it's like a carefree, happy, come back next week. This time it wasn't that way. It was it just stalled. It just stopped until the screen went to black. So Walter kind of made it awkward towards the end. So. The bump was great. I would give it a B+. I enjoyed it mainly for the Imperium appearance.
Alright.
I don't
really watch the bump, but I may have to go back and watch this one because anytime someone shits on Bret Hart, I usually laugh about it. I don't hate Bret Hart by any means. It's just, I think he has a very whiny personality at times.
Right.
He also doesn't know how to spell your name, apparently. If you get that joke, kudos.
I'm not allowed to mention his family ever again, so, I can't review anything.
Yeah. Can't even say your name.
But yeah, so then next, we have SmackDown.
I think that's the last thing we got to review.
Yeah, then it's just all new stuff. So SmackDown took place on November 10th, 2023.
I got my notes up.
Yeah, you can take us through SmackDown. This week, the commentary team was Kevin Owens, Michael Cole, and Kevin Patrick. The reason
you can go.
Corey Graves and Carmella. Well, just Carmella gave birth, but Corey Graves and Carmella, their baby was born this week. I should never give news about babies being born. I always screw it up somehow for some reason. I just can't. That's just one news thing I always screw up. But yeah, so I think pretty much my theory of why Graves wasn't at Crown Jewel ended up being correct because we'll talk about it more. But Carmella had been in labor for like 3 days before this.
Carmella said you ain't going. He wasn't going.
Yeah. So Corey Graves, obviously, I think the baby was born the day before. I don't know if he's on paternity leave or not. I don't think any information is coming. I could definitely see him just being on SmackDown since he only has to travel really once a week. Or he just misses a few weeks, but I assume obviously he wasn't there just because the baby was just born. He obviously wanted to be there for the baby and everything like that. The name of the baby, just so I can say, I mean, I know this is kind of on topic, so that's why I'm talking about this now. The heck is it? I sent too many. I had all this stuff sent to me, and then when I had to talk about it, let me see. Didn't I send this to my? I thought I sent this to myself. Yeah, I can't find where it is, but if I find it, I'll let you know. But the name of the baby, yeah, I have no idea. Some reason it's just not here. Hold on, let me check the rundown chat. That's where I put it. Okay, yeah, it was in the rundown chat. That's why I couldn't find it. Yeah, so it's Dmitry Polonsky. Born November 8th, 2023. 8 pounds, 21 inches. And yes, it was worth the 60-hour long labor more than that any other day. So, good stuff. Obviously.
Good stuff. Congrats to both of them.
Obviously, too, because if you read the story, it was a struggle for them to even have, well, for Carmelo anyways, to have a kid. So, it's good that, they're able to have one. So Kevin Owens took his place this week. And pretty much the deal was that if he physically attacked any wrestler, Nick Aldis would suspend him. Well, we'll get to that later. But yeah, you want to take us through SmackDown?
Right, the SmackDown opens up with the ALWO making their way to the ring. Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro, and Zelina Vega. They're coming out and they immediately start talking about, Rey being disappointed about losing the belt to Logan Paul, which immediately causes Carlito to come out with, he didn't come out with the group, it comes out after the fact. He comes out and he gets right in Rey's face and says, Rey, it ain't your fault you lost. It ain't Logan Paul's fault. It ain't his lackey. It's Santos Escobar's fault because he left the brass knucks in plain view for him to grab. So he's blaming him. And Rey's kind of taken aback by it, and Escobar's thinking he's just going to jump immediately to his defense. But Rey actually took a sec to think about it. And the fact that he even thought about it was enough to set Escobar off, so he leaves the ring and goes to the back. And as he's leaving, we get the entrance of Bobby Lashley along with the Street Profits for a match. Going to be Carlito versus Lashley. Really good back and forth match. Carlito hasn't lost a step. The dude's still got it. And ultimately, what ends up happening is we have, let's see if I can find it here. None have buzz. Basically, a lot of outside interference going on with the LWO and the Street Profits fighting each other. The Street Profits getting the upper hand, and Lashley was able to hit a spear on Carlito and win that way. So Lashley wins the match, and after the fact, they're going to beat down Carlito. It's funny because Rey Mysterio clearly made his way to the ring with no music, and then his music hits and he like rushes in finally with a chair. But the numbers game's too much for him. Santos Escobar comes out to help and he stops.
Actually, that's not it. So
Actually, sorry, no, it was Carlito.
yeah,
Carlito's getting beat down. Escobar came out first. He didn't help him. Then Ray came out
yeah,
and he helped. And basically, he's getting in Escobar's face. Why aren't you helping? We're all supposed to be on the same team here. And they're getting into a shoving match, and it looks like Escobar's just going to leave so he can cool off. But instead, he decides to turn around while Ray's checking on Carlito, and he decks Ray. Finally turns on him. And the whole time, Escobar isn't really snapping on him. He's just like, look what you made me do. You made me do this. Just clearly breaking down in front of Ray. But it was very interesting, and then he shoves Ray in between the steps. He gets his leg wedged and drop kicks it. And the whole LWO is pissed at him.
yeah, I'm interested in this. I really like this a lot. Obviously, I like the opening promo. I like that Carlito was the one that called him out. That called out Santos for it. And then, I liked obviously the match with Bobby Lashley and Carlito. That was really good stuff there. I like too because Santos doesn't even come out really to save Carlito. He comes out because his boys were beaten down, and then when it's Carlito that's getting beaten down, he doesn't do anything. And then I thought the turn really worked just because Santos feels like Ray made him turn, and everybody's hating Santos for the turn.
Yeah.
I think eventually Joaquin and Wall
I
Mendoza, are gonna side with Santos, and
do
then
too.
Zelina's gonna stay with
Reformed Legado de Fantasma.
and then Zelina's gonna stay with Ray. Maybe they'll do a 6-man tag at Survivor Series. Ray, Carlito, and maybe Dragon Lee, because he's been closely associated with Ray a lot versus Legado del Fantasma. Maybe they'll save that though, and they'll do Ray versus Santos at Survivor Series and do the turn, so that way they don't. Because that would be kind of rushed if they do it all now, since Survivor Series is in 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm really liking this a lot. Yeah, really, it's been built up for a while too. So I like this. I think they're doing all this stuff too was because they realized they're not going to have the bloodline angle like as a strong factor right now. So they're trying all this stuff on SmackDown, and this really worked. I thought this really was awesome right here.
Same. But yeah, moving on from that, we go to commercial. We come back from commercial, and Santos did tell Kathy Kelly that Ray had it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then following this, we had a damage control segment with Bayley where she was talking with the other members, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and the newly joined Kairi Sane. And Bayley just talked about how she was skeptical about the whole her joining. She's not sure.
Right.
And Kairi said that she acknowledges she's the leader of damage control, and she forgives her for running her out of WWE, which was a nice callback. And then they're like, come on, let's do a group hug. And Bayley's like, no, I don't hug anymore. And they did it anyway, and Bayley looked very uncomfortable. But if you watch, I think they were supposed to do a camera cut earlier. She cracks up in the middle of the ring. Right before it cuts, like you see she's like dying laughing.
Yeah. I like this a lot, really great.
And like, I was just thinking about it now. It was funny. Like you see, like she's really trying to keep that uncomfortable look, and she's just like,
Yeah.
really trying not to laugh.
But yeah, I liked this a lot, I really like what the direction they're going with when it comes to damage control right now. We'll get to that later, but I think we talked about last week that you were kind of hoping, that Bayley was going to stay heel. I don't think that's going to happen now. I think Bayley's being ousted from the group now, and she's going to be the one that goes face, which I think, she's been a heel for a while, so I think it's time for her to go back to a babyface type of role now. So
Yeah, maybe it is. And after that segment, maybe I was wrong. But what happened was, as they're hugging it out in the ring, we get Bianca Belair to come out and and she said, like, I'm gonna get you guys for what you did to me at Crown Jewel. They're like, yeah, you don't have any friends, no one likes you. She's like, yeah, I don't need people like me, I just need people to not like you, which gets Charlotte Flair to make her entrance, and then gets Asuka to make her entrance. So the main event of SmackDown is going to be a 3-on-3 Games Control minus Dakota Kai, because I guess she still didn't have a foot.
Yeah, which will be interesting, I think, probably because of that. Because clearly the women's Wargames match, as we know now, is going to be with Damage Control. It's probably going to be 4.
We'll get to it in a minute.
It's probably going to be 4-on-4 with the woman now because Dakota can't go. So,
right.
I meant to mention this. What was I going to say during the Raw review, but we don't have that now. But I'll probably mention it again. Compared to the two brands, Raw seems like it's more loaded with women than SmackDown is for some reason. And yet somehow Rhea doesn't have a lot of opponents to challenge, even though Raw's loaded with women. It's just how does that happen? Like,
That's a good point.
But
I mean, they just did a multi-woman match, so that probably doesn't help.
Yeah, it didn't help. But yeah, I like this segment a lot. It ties into what happens later in the show, so it was good.
Yes. Yes, he does. Alright, so after this, we had, let's see if I find it. Yes, we had Dragon Lee versus Cedric Alexander, and this was a very, very good match. Not much to go on here. It's just kind of a showcase of Dragon Lee, and that he's an up-and-comer on SmackDown. I think he's going to be the guy to watch.
Yeah, Dragon Lee looked really good.
I think a match with Logan Paul is probably down the line for him.
I kind of hope that happens at Survivor Series. But, yeah, I like this a lot. They gave Dragon Lee a lot of offense here. A great showcase for him. And this is a great showcase for Cedric, too. I kind of hope this means, that he has somewhat of a future, maybe somewhat of a push coming for him. Because, he had a video package one week. And then, he's been looking really good these past few weeks. So, hopefully there's something planned for Cedric. I don't know what that is. I would like him to join Bobby Lashley's faction they got going on. We forgot to mention, too, by the way, during the...
B-Fab.
Yeah, B-Fab was watching, and Ashante the Adonis wants to know what's going on, so it seems like he's not liking the fact that B-Fab looked like to be joining that faction. So, that'll be interesting, I wonder if B-Fab would just be like a manager like Bobby Lashley kind of is, because,
probably.
Will Ashante the Adonis' role be then, will he join this faction, or will he get kind of, turned on and all that type of stuff? And,
right.
Because I actually think, I know you weren't a big Hitwell fan and everything like that, but Ashante the Adonis is actually a decent talent. It's just that,
I like Ashante.
Yeah, so. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens with, that whole thing they got going on. I thought Jade Cargill was going to be, obviously, the biggest thing I want is Bianca to be the one to join Bobby Lashley's faction and go heel.
Same.
But, I don't think Bianca wants to go heel, so, it's fine.
Yeah.
But,
it's what it is.
Yeah. Continue with SmackDown.
Yeah, so after this, we got a tribute to the troops. Oh, no, sorry, not tribute to the troops. It was a Veterans Day package. My apologies.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we had LA Knight versus Grayson Waller. It's a very good match. Knight comes out and basically immediately is on the microphone saying, I complained like I blew it, I lost, but that's not what happened. I got screwed by Jimmy Uso. And then as he's doing that, Waller makes his entrance and he's ripping on him for losing. And the guy Knight does not miss a beat. I was laughing my ass off when he goes, "Hey, look, it's Kangaroo Jackass."
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome. Because if you know me, I am someone who defends Kangaroo Jack to the end. I love that movie. I think it's one of the best bad movies of all time.
That's fair.
It's a wonderful movie to watch. It really is. The kangaroo's got the money. anyhow, yeah, the crowd is still behind Knight. He was not buried. I hate to even think, like, people out there are actually going to try to convince others that that's what it is. That ain't what it is. And then ultimately, Knight was able to hit the BFT and get the win. Good segment overall. What do you think?
Yeah, I like this a lot. You know, the promo between them back and forth was good. We should mention it. Kevin Owens was entertaining all night on commentary because this is like the last match he really commentates. The thing that sucked is he wasn't as entertaining as you would think because he was. You could definitely tell he was sick during commentary. Like his voice kept cracking and everything like that. So, yeah, but I like this a lot. You know, LA Knight winning. He needed to bounce back after losing to Roman Reigns. So I think then he would be buried had he lost this match. And then, unless Grayson Waller cheated. But yeah, Grayson Waller I don't really think needs a big win right now. He's got a lot of time on the clock when it comes to his career right now, so I think he's going to be
Plus,
good.
Grayson Waller did get something out of this loss because during the whole thing, Kevin Owens was ripping on him on commentary. So when we get back from commercial, we had two things happen. Number one, we got a recap of what Solo did to Cena at Crown Jewel, where he just annihilated him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got, after that we had it being announced that Solo will be on SmackDown next week, and I'm starting to think in Roman's absence, Solo is going to be the main heel on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think they need to kind of build him up to do the storyline I recommended, where like he finally gets fed up with helping Roman, and that causes him to leave the bloodline type of thing.
Yeah, I think it might be a good idea to start doing that. Is like now he finally starts talking, and he's like, you know, what am I doing here? I'm wasting my time. Like, I don't have a belt. You know, I'm not allowed to fail like Jimmy has, and he is forgiven for everything.
Mm-hmm. Especially because Jimmy turned on him too. So.
Yep. But after this, Grayson Waller comes back out with Austin Theory because Kevin Owens was showing the recap of him doing the 2 birds, 1 stone punch last week, and they dump water on him, and the whole time Cole is going, Kevin, don't do it. You know what's gonna happen. And he's looking, he goes, Cole, you're a good friend, I'm sorry, but I gotta go get suspended. Stands up and just beats the hell out of both of them.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious, and I don't think he's gonna get straight suspended. It's gonna be like, you know, I'm giving you time off until Survivor Series, and then you're gonna get a handicap match. Like, it was something like that. Your punishment is, I'm not giving you a tag match, I'm giving you a handicap match. And KO just be like, alright.
And I could see, like, you know, they win because, like, KO hits the stunner and Grayson Waller hits that rolling stunner. And, like, that causes KO to lose because of the numbers game. A lot of people are thinking Nick Aldis is a heel because, like, you know, of the way he reprimanded Kevin Owens. But if you watch the exclusive, he doesn't really look like he's a heel doing that. He's kind of just being, like, a fair GM type of thing. Which I think is good, you know, for his character. They're clearly definitely setting up something. Like, I feel like Nick Aldis is going to get in the ring at some point. I don't see him. I don't know why. Yeah. I don't know if he wants to just dial back his wrestling. It just seems weird that, you know...
It's probably his call. He wants to slow down.
Yeah, so...
I've heard that.
Yeah, but I could definitely see, you know... I wouldn't mind him being a heel, but just don't be, like, over the top with it. Like, you know, we've seen heel GMs, like, you know... But I definitely don't think... Go ahead.
He just be a dick.
Yeah.
Instead of a heel.
But I just think it's one of those things where, like, you know... He's one of those face GMs that doesn't discriminate who he punishes and who he, you know, puts in matches and things like that, you know, so... Because it's weird, they mentioned KO suspended, but he was on the house show circuit this week, so what's going on there, like, you know,
Hey, I'm Grace with Sami Zayn.
Yeah. But yeah, this was good, but yeah, I liked this.
I thought it was a good segment overall, and then we finally get to our main event, Damage Control versus Bianca, Charlotte, and Asuka.
Before that, they did a backstage segment with Jimmy Uso, where he's talking shit, to, you know, to LA Knight, saying that he failed because he couldn't live up to his potential and everything like that. And he said, that he's been given orders to handle LA Knight next week. And then he says yeet. He gets a phone call from the tribal chief, and then it ends, and he's like, no yeet, because Roman Reigns doesn't like the yeet. So, this Bloodline storyline's gonna struggle, I think, again, just because Roman's not there now. I think I've talked about this before, but you really notice how much the Bloodline storyline struggles without Roman there. But I feel like this Jimmy turn, I think we're gonna years from now, maybe after the Bloodline storyline, a lot of people are gonna say did it ever jump the shark and stuff. For me, yep. It's definitely going to be the Jimmy turn. I think that's the moment to jump the shark right there.
The storyline jumped the shark when he didn't lose to Cody Rhodes, but it somehow managed to float in midair.
That's fair.
Before landing over the shark.
Well, I'm surprised well, I guess it did land over the shark, though. But
it didn't land until the Jimmy turn, because Jay carried it.
Mm-hmm.
For a bit.
Now we don't have Jay. So
now we're in the main event, and good back and forth match. Ultimately, they're building up toward the end of the match. It's looking like Bianca's going to get Asuka for a hot tag, and Asuka drops off the apron, and Bianca's giving her the WTF look. So now they're looking at each other, and she spits the blue mist in Bianca's face, signaling that she's turned. She's joining Damage Control. And they start beating the hell out of her, and Charlotte tries to make the save, but she's getting the crap kicked out of her now, which prompts Shotzi to run out. Still looking like a cracked up version of Sinead O'Connor. I'm not gonna stop saying that.
That's fair.
And it's dropped, and the closing image of SmackDown is the new Damage Control: Asuka, Kairi, Bayley, Dakota, and Io.
Mm-hmm.
And it's blatantly obvious the direction is Wargames.
Yep.
I mean, Damage Control now with Asuka, without Dakota Kai though because of her injury, versus Bianca Belair, Charlotte, Shotzi, and I don't know.
I'm seeing reports Becky Lynch.
I have two, but I have a better idea. Jade Cargill.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Don't announce it ahead of time. Let it be a surprise.
Essentially what they did with Kevin Owens. Remember when he came back to NXT a few years ago where,
yep.
Basically that. That'd be good. Yeah, I like this SmackDown a lot, though. I thought the SmackDown, was awesome. I'm giving this SmackDown an A. The biggest highlights was the Damage Control and the LWO segment. I feel like, too, this SmackDown's kind of needed to be a home run because, as we talked about last week, they lost a lot of the big stars with Roman not being there. They don't have the U.S. title now, and now they don't have... we'll just mention this now. They're not... I mean, they weren't going to have Cena there anyways, but now they're not going to have John Cena for who knows how long now because...
yes, definitely now because both Hollywood strikes are now over.
So, do you think WWE, not necessarily knew that, but they knew negotiations were going on, so they booked that finish in case, just to say, okay, we have to write you off, and do you think they were always going to do that finish? With Cena?
I think they were always going to do that.
But honestly, I think this makes the... I mean, then again, how could Cena do any Hollywood stuff? As Paul Heyman said, he can't talk now, so what the hell is he going to do any of his Hollywood stuff? He can't talk. Solo destroyed him. So...
Yeah.
I think this shows, that SmackDown's going to be, I think for now going to be okay. I think they're kind of lucky because they have Wargames to build to, so, I think that's going to help SmackDown for a few weeks. And then, a month after that, I'm not really sure.
Because the thing is, you can build to Survivor Series because it's still, in all consideration, a Big Four pay-per-view, but... Once you get past that, now that there's nothing in December, outside of maybe some NXT stuff, the end of the year is a hard time because you're going 2 whole months, because you're going from the end of November to the end of January. 2 whole months with no big pay-per-view. You have a long period of time to build up, and we know WWE doesn't use all that time to build up.
Right. Especially, too, because it's the holidays and stuff, so...
Friday Christmas is usually filler.
Mm-hmm.
But, the only match they'll probably start building up is the Royal Rumble match, because all you have to do is, I'm in.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, unless...
It doesn't work. And I say, if that doesn't work one time, hey, you got 29 more chances to make it work.
Right. Unless they have the weird year. Like, remember last year? Like, remember this year? Ricochet, for some reason, had to qualify by beating Top Dollar, which was weird. Like, they had to do he had a qualifying match for some reason. That was weird. And then you had people... Yeah, I feel like sometimes WWE's weird with that. They'll have qualifying matches, but then people just go, I'm in, so that's weird. But, overall, pretty kick-ass week in WWE content. Good post.
Yeah, I'm going to give this SmackDown a solid A.
Yeah, so... And, we gave... As you're going to hear... as you've already heard, we gave Raw an A.
A minus.
So, there you go. Okay, yeah, so pretty much... I'll just kind of break down all the other new stuff, so, and then we'll just get off of here. Let me, see if I can find anything, great. I have to find okay, here it is. So we mentioned pretty much Corey Graves and Carmella having their kid. That's good. Yeah, Dana White has doing some interviews lately, because obviously WWE and UFC pretty much work together now. So he mentions, I'm getting all this from Dirt Sheet Radio. He credits Vince McMahon for raising the UFC/Saudi Arabia deal. He mentions it was Vince McMahon. It was 100% Vince McMahon. He made every call. He didn't make one move without picking up the phone and calling me and getting me in the loop and seeing if I was cool with this and that. He went from being, oddly enough, I don't even know why, an enemy of UFC to being an unbelievable, incredible partner. So that's kind of interesting, that, basically Vince McMahon is actually, because Dana White lately has been saying that Vince McMahon's been, the best business partner, he's ever had, pretty much, which is interesting with how much he's been competing with him and everything like that. So...
It seems like if rumors are to be believed that Vince, after years of being public enemy #1 creatively, has found his spot, and that's just being on the business end of things, but staying out of the story room.
Which is what everyone's wanted for a while. So.
Yep.
And then this one is from Sean Warsap. WWE sources have indicated to Fightful Select there was interest in Will Ospreay, and preliminary overtures have been made. So pretty much lately Will Ospreay saying he's open to coming to WWE. I've talked about this a little bit. I'm hoping this happens. I mean, this can't happen anyways until after February because his contract for New Japan's not up. But really, he probably wouldn't be till after WrestleMania anyways if he was going to go to WWE because, I don't see... Unless he has, a big debut. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't... Wherever Will Ospreay goes will benefit wrestling, obviously, because he's, the biggest... He'll be the biggest sign-in. Obviously, TNA could use him when they rebrand. Obviously... AEW could always use him because, he factors in fairly well in AEW storylines with everything they got going on there because, they just signed Aussie Open and that's a big tag team that, he was a part of and everything like that. I mean, obviously I'm being biased, but WWE is where I'd like to see him go just because there's a lot of dream matches he hasn't really had with everybody. And I think I know they do live shows and everything like that, but I think for his body, it would probably be the safest for him to go to WWE, probably.
Agreed.
But then again, obviously, this is obviously up to him. Obviously, him going to AEW, he could still work New Japan if he wants because of the partnership that AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling have with each other. And then, obviously, he can do other things that he wants until Tony Khan decides it doesn't happen, because that's happened a lot. Obviously, TNA, he could be a part in basically helping relaunch a company and be the face of it pretty much. So that, yeah. Anyhow, what do you think about this Will Ospreay situation? What do you want to see happen? And
I'm excited. I think for him, first things first, I think leaving New Japan is the biggest thing he needs to do. I think that's the right move for him to make. I think he's just done everything he can over there.
Yep.
So, ultimately, where I think is the best place for him to go is the same place that I want to see him go, which is WWE. I've said it before, I think it's sad because AEW has everything it needs to spread out its roster and get everybody adequate TV time. Like, they can use ROH for that, and Tony Khan doesn't because he's a fucking moron. But, if he goes to AEW, he's going to be featured once every 2 to 3 weeks, and he's going to get lost in the shuffle like everyone does.
That's fair.
Except for a few. So, AEW, in my opinion, is the worst option for him.
I agree.
I really think that.
Especially because he's faced everyone in AEW. All the top stars, because they just done...
Much.
Yeah.
If he wants to get it done, he has a couple months to get it done. Impact is his second best option, because Impact is obviously going back to TNA, and, you know, if money's not a concern to him, they can offer him something, and he can probably make it back in, like, a lucrative deal where he gets X amount of his, like, t-shirt profits more than he normally would, or something like that. And they can really build that company around him. I definitely think that's an option for him.
I mean, even if not, if you remember, like, Nick Aldis, he went to Impact for, like, a bit, just to kind of get his name back out there, and he was in WWE anyways, so...
Yeah. If you like cocaine, you can go to NWA. But no, I think WWE would be the best option for him, because I think WWE would be willing to be like, okay, you know, we're not gonna rebrand you. You're Will Ospreay. We'll work with this.
Mm-hmm.
I think his stock is too big for them to press reset.
Definitely, especially with what's happened with Cody lately and Jay Cody.
That's also not to say maybe he says, well, I want to reset, and he can go to NXT. Yep. Or he can go right to Raw or SmackDown and start doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
If he does come in after WrestleMania and I have to stick him somewhere that I think makes sense for him, so he's featured and he's not getting lost, I would maybe stick him in Imperium.
Yeah.
Make him enforcer of Imperium.
Wow. That'd be tough though. He's not that big. He's not that big. There's the problem though. Like, he's not a big guy either. So.
But he doesn't need to, like, you'll know who he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have, well, you know, Gunther now has him as his heavy. And he just rips through everyone, and eventually Imperium starts falling apart because they're all jealous of him. And eventually he can turn on Gunther and win the Intercontinental title.
Right. I mean, a lot of people said this is an opportunity if he does do WWE. NXT Europe, if that launches, he'll be built around that. But I feel like I wouldn't hate that. But as you've seen, like, I feel like if he's gonna go to WWE, it needs to be on the main shows. You know. Also, too, it would be weird if all of a sudden they just start making NXT Europe just because he's coming over there. It'd be like, okay, you're kind of desperate to get this guy. Like, if you want him, just take him, type of thing.
Right.
You know, because the reason he's so open to doing this is because he's willing to, like, leave, you know, his Europe now and everything like that to do this and everything like that. So, yeah, I'm excited to see, though, because Will Ospreay's, like, been one of my favorites for a while. There's some unfortunate news. And we talked about this last week. It looked like Saray was going to go to WWE. That's not the case anymore. She signed with a new Japanese promotion that's American-based. It's called Sukiban, I think it's called. So now her going to WWE doesn't look like to be very likely anymore. It sucks, obviously, but, you know, she's doing what she wants to do type of thing. That's all you can ask for her.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously, WWE, maybe, like, was Asuka always going to join Damage Control? Like, was that spot made to be for her, but then they just gave it to Asuka when she didn't sign? Obviously, that's really not really well known, but Yeah, what do you think about this? The fact that, she's not coming back to WWE and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer, but all the same, I don't know, with the way damage control's going, most I can say is her loss.
And then there's obviously massive interest for WWE right now in New Japan Strong Women's Champion Julia. She's only 29. There's obviously been some misreports this week, but they're saying that she was actually at the Performance Center, but that wasn't the case because she had indie dates anyways. But like, there's in talks for her to go there. She's a champion. She's a Strong champion and some type of Stardom champion right now, so she has to drop those titles first. But the interest is there. It's just a matter of when she's going to show up in WWE. I really can't comment on her just because there's only so much time of the day that I haven't.
Yeah, I've not seen her wrestle.
Yeah, but I've heard the name enough where it does seem like a big deal and everything like that. And obviously, this would be a big deal for WWE to get type of thing. So
yeah, exactly.
Anything you want to say about that?
No, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't watch her material enough to know.
Again, I already talked about no word on the future of Raw right now. Yeah, let's see. Oh, okay, this is a big one. It looks like, Vince McMahon recently sold his stock. He sold $8,400. No, he sold how much was the stock? Yeah, I think it's 8,400,000 shares of his TKO stock back to TKO itself. This is about 30% of his roughly 28 million company shares he owns before this transaction. This was after the fact that they indicated that they thought Vince was a risk factor. So the biggest thing that's coming out of this is I think Vince McMahon was thinking if he sold the company, he was going to be pretty much well set. But I think it's kind of screwed him over because I think, Ariel, Emmanuel, and all these other people have kind of seen that Vince was kind of the reason the wrestling business, mainly WWE, was in the state that it was at. And us seeing, because it's really backfired on him because he doesn't have any creative power anymore. That's been given to Triple H now, and now they might oust him from the company completely now. So I think Vince screwed himself over. Like, I know we talked about this might have been the worst business decision he's probably ever made in terms of himself type of thing. Because
and it's funny because we were all nervous when it first happened because we were like, oh man, he just sold to these guys because they're probably yes men.
But that doesn't. That's not.
Oh yeah, run it into the ground. We don't care. But no, these guys have been good businessmen. They see that he's not the guy to write a creative story because it's hard to do that.
Yeah, it isn't easy. Yeah,
and they're gonna say, "All right, get out."
Yep. And obviously, obviously the biggest thing I think everybody wants is for Vince to be, completely out of the company and stuff. I've always just kind of wanted him out of creative stuff, but obviously, I wouldn't complain, obviously, if he's out, because dude's obviously... How old is he now? Is he 70? Because my grandfather is 77. I think he's 76, right? Because So, yeah, I mean, it would probably be good for his mental health, probably, to be out of the company, because if you've seen Vince lately, you could just tell he's definitely in his 70s now. I don't know when he started showing his age, but it's been fairly recent, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, I think, Vince being out of the company probably would be good for the company. But, the biggest thing, I think that's the positive, is at least him selling the company. I remember everyone, like you just said, was worried that it was going to be bad for the company, but it ended up kind of being good because they're showing, that they're not going to take shit from anybody type of thing. So that's good. Anything else you want to say about this happening? That Vince had to sell some of his stock to TKO and everything like that?
I mean, as long as Vince stays out of the creative room, I have no issue with him being in WWE. I mean, obviously he's done some questionable things, but questionable is a very light word. I'm not going to go into the details of that, though. We've been there, done that. whatever. If he's there, he's there. Just keep him out of the creative realm.
Yeah, and I think if you've watched the shows, you can definitely tell it's very much heavily Triple H running the company right now. Well, creative-wise anyways, so, which is good. It kind of sucks. I mean, in a way, it's good, but also sucks because Triple H is kind of in the spot that he was in a year ago, where he was basically, because he's kind of having to restart from all the stuff that, Vince had changed, that brief time he's changed shows and everything like that. So,
yeah.
It'll be interesting. But yeah, because I think everyone, too, was also worried that they were going to side with Triple H, because if you remember, they took Triple H off the board of directors and everything like that, so everyone was kind of worried about it. But it seems like, they want Triple H just to do the job that he's doing with the best possible ability and everything like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's basically everything for WWE Aftershock. No other news or anything like that to break down or anything like that. And again, well, I mean, we mentioned the Cena strike, but obviously we mentioned SmackDown. It's going to be interesting to see what that looks like because, we don't have Logan Paul, we don't have Roman Reigns, we don't have John Cena right now, but obviously, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys.
I made that comment on Io Sky being the one to potentially have to run SmackDown now at Damage Control. Thus far, she's actually kind of doing it.
I mean, the LWO helped this week, too, that kind of...
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, overall, I really got nothing left to say. I think we'll just end the video. I'm going to remind you before we end it off, do not forget to record your take on what happened on Raw this week.
You know what? I'm going to record my take and I'm going to do the wrong Raw.
What Raw? You're going to do like the first Raw episode ever aired.
Yeah, I mean, I turned on Raw, man, and I saw Jake the Snake.
No, you could be like JR and review an episode of Dynamite by mistake.
Yeah. I'm JR, this is Tony Schiavone. Welcome to Wednesday night.
Remember he called it WWE Dynamite one time?
Yeah.
He did something else that was a bad. Didn't he call like the world title like the WWE world title? It was something like that in AEW.
I think it was like, yes, this is the most prestigious belt in all of wrestling, the WWF World Heavyweight Championship.
Hey, I don't know what's more embarrassing than that. I remember when Nigel McGuinness accidentally called what was it, NXT Ring of Honor or something like that? And he was like,
yeah.
You could hear how pissed he was when he did that. Like,
he just caught himself like, shit.
But anyhow, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, plug and promote your stuff. What do you have coming out? What do you not have coming out? What do you got going on?
Yeah, I got nothing to plug, so I'm good.
Yeah, I got some stuff to plug.
Alright.
We'll be doing that. Obviously, this video. This might be one of the worst Aftershock episodes because we didn't know what we were doing. We couldn't find this. We couldn't find that. You have footage in there that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah. I think we need the return of Chris Dodd to solve this problem.
Yeah, probably. And then we have AW Spark coming out. Zero and I will be doing that. That's the guy that just came on here a little bit ago off camera. We'll be recording that tomorrow, and then it'll go up Wednesday. Oh, no, not Wednesday. Tuesday. Well, probably Wednesday, depending on how things work out. Retro, Chris and I are recording on Wednesday, WCW Fall Brawl 1996. That might come out the go-home week of Survivor Series to hype us up for Wargames.
Wargames.
And then I have to ask, what are you doing, by the way, next Saturday? Like roughly 8:30 in the morning.
Next Saturday at roughly 8:30 in the morning. This upcoming one or the next?
This upcoming one. So it'll be the 18th.
Nothing. I'll probably be in bed.
Oh. I was going to ask. So we're going to do a crossover since you probably saw the last crossover we did. Chris Dodd, Zero, and I.
Yeah.
And now you've met, so now, it's pretty easy. Anyway, since Collision and SmackDown, Rampage, and Level Up are all going to air the same day. We would do a big crossover and review all those shows that all air in the same day.
Okay.
If you're interested, let me know. Because then, definitely let me know if you do it, because you're the WWE guy, so you make it a crossover. It's not a crossover if you no show. So
right.
Because
yeah, I mean, I might do that because I'm not gonna lie. Steve Steiner's cousin, her 21st birthday is Friday night, and I've had to help plan it out. We're starting at 5, and we have stuff planned all the way to something starting at 1 in the morning on Saturday.
Okay, so
if Steve Steiner pops up on the show, he's probably going to be in bed, but he'll be there.
All right, so yeah, Saturday, 8:30. So, I have to do it at that time because I have people coming. So it's like it's either that time or not at all. So,
yeah.
But and then Full Gear's that night, so like we have to record it before then. So
yeah, that's true.
But it'll be interesting. It'll be reviewing an AEW show, which
yeah,
it'll be interesting. And it's Collision.
I would love to watch Chris review an AEW show live. I'm sure that's just a joy.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope this episode was enjoyable. And again, let me record the November 7th, 2023 episode of Raw. See, now you can't do the one episode because I told you the date. So,
yeah, I'll still forget.
I'm gonna have to send you like a text every 5 seconds. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. It's to be recorded in the past. We will talk to you guys in the future.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as WWE content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.